Anders Breivik case. Sometimes people who look peaceful and relaxed have living monsters in them. Never judge a person for his smile, because behind that smile, a deadly demon resides. He waged a 3.5-hour war on his innocent fellow citizens and killed 77 people. This was the most lethal killing spree. But where did the hatred come from? Fjotolf Hansen, also known as Anders Breivik, was born on 13th February 1979 in Oslo. He was the son of nurse Wenche Behring and Jens David Breivik, a civil economist. When Wenche got pregnant with Breivik, she hated her condition and gradually hated the baby. Whenever the baby would kick her, she would think that the baby was doing that on purpose. She traveled from the UK to Norway to get rid of the baby, but doctors believed it was too late because she was 3 months pregnant. As he grew, he began to behave like a nasty and evil child, and it was like he was trying to kill his mother. Wenche stopped breastfeeding him because, according to her, he was sucking the life out of her. Breivik lived with his mother in Oslo's Frogner district. He started going to school when he was 4. Though being an intelligent kid, his behavior towards kids and teachers was weird. 2 reports were filed regarding his mental health by the school. One of these reports said the boy had a peculiar smile that didn't portray his emotions, but deliberately responded to his environment. Another report brought out details regarding how he was raised. The report said that his mother mistreated young Breivik. She would hit him, abuse him, and tell him she wished he were dead. Wenche had a personality disorder. She often had depression and would target Breivik for her primitive aggression and anger. Psychiatrists believed that Breivik's strange attitude was because of his mother, so the child should be sent to foster care as soon as possible. Wenche's behavior was deteriorating Breivik from inside. The psychiatric clinic placed a card order for Breivik, but the Child Welfare Service never came to carry him out. Breivik's mother moved back to Oslo and lived in the Frogner district. She began working as a nurse and often left her children home alone for extended periods. Wenche applied for welfare benefits and financial aid in 1981. She applied for respite care and said she could not take care of Breivik because he was clingy and demanding. In 1983, Wenche sought help from the National Center for Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. The final report showed that Breivik should be taken away from his mother because he does not respond to any situation due to constant physical and psychological abuse. He never showed emotions of joy, fear, or pain and would stay away from other children. He wouldn't even try to come forward to play with them and was an immaculate child and hated it when his things were not in order. Wenche tortured him for being a dirty child, so he gradually developed a habit of keeping himself clean. He was very conscious of how he looked and always ensured that he would dress clean. For a 4-year-old child, such kind of behavior seemed very unreal. When his father, Jens Breivik, heard about his condition, he quickly filed for custody. He wanted to take care of Breivik himself. But when Wenche came to know about Jens, she filed full custody with her, although she earlier agreed that she wanted him to be put in respite care. The case was dropped due to no evidence in court to warrant the placement of Breivik, and also the Fjotolf nursery staff said that Breivik was a calm and happy child and there was nothing wrong with him. After that, he was never put in foster care. Breivik lived with his mother and sister and always visited his father in France until he was 15. His mother Wenche also remarried to an officer in the Norwegian army. At age 15, he decided to list in the Lutheran Church of Norway. He was becoming egocentric and often showed a rebellious attitude. At age 16, he was a productive artist and a part of the hip-hop community, but loved his graffiti work. Police caught him on several occasions. He broke off contact with his parents and preferred to spend more time with his friends. He spent time on strength training and used anabolic steroids in his adolescence. He was very conscious about his looks. He wanted to look handsome, strong, and broad, even got cosmetic surgery on his chin, nose, and forehead. The Norwegian army exempted him from applying for military service because, according to them, He was unfit for the service. At age 21, Breivik worked in a customer service department with people from different countries. His coworkers loved him for his relaxed attitude and described him as an exceptional colleague. But his friends said he had a big ego. In 2005, he went to Belarus to meet a woman he met on a dating website. In 2002, Breivik began to plan something very horrifying. He formed his own computer programming business while working at the customer service company. His company began to grow with several offshore bank accounts, and he made his first million kroner when he was only 24. He used 2 million to finance something deadly that was about to come. On 22nd July 2011, it was a hot day, and people were enjoying the summer holidays. At 3:18 p.m., a van was captured on CCTV parking next to Norway's government headquarters. 32-year-old Breivik was seen leaving the van. He was fully armed and dressed in a police-style uniform. At 3:26, a tremendous bang was heard. People living far thought it might be a thunderstorm because heavy rain was reported. But this was not the thunderstorm, but the clatter and heavy rumbling. The ferocity of the explosion was so hard that windows crashed, the ceilings came down. There was dust in the air. Breivik's van outside the building was packed with a ton of fertilizer-based explosives. 8 people lost their lives in this massive, deadly blast. People were terrified and were unwilling to enter the building because it was on the brink to fall. There was fear everywhere. People were lying on the roads, and the only thing that could be heard was the fire alarm. People who were living 80 kilometers away heard the intensity of the bomb. The bombing was the beginning of Breivik's killing spree that he had been planning since 2002. He bought himself extra time while the police were taking calls about the bombing, but no one knew about his next planning that would dwarf the city's carnage and shock the entire world. After the bombing, he drove for 40 minutes and reached the nearby lake. He was now planning to execute the second stage of his plan. The island of Utoya was hosting a summer camp of young Labor Party activists. He parked his car on the ferry crossings and then went inside, where he presented himself as a security police officer who was there to instruct them about security measures. They sent the ferry over to collect him. People on the island were enjoying the summer, playing football, swimming, and having a little chit-chat. No one knew that the next few minutes would be the most petrifying and last moments of their lives. At 5:31, Breivik began to walk towards the camp. He saw a girl coming towards him. He suddenly brought his gun out. As soon as the girl saw the weapon, she began to run backward. But after a few seconds, she was lying dead on the ground. People around began to run to save their lives. Over 500 people were running to hide in the jungle, but it wasn't long when he had already killed 21 people. He walked towards the southern tip of the island, and on the way, he killed 15 more people. Breivik was roaming around like a grim reaper who wasn't sparing anyone. Many were jumping in the river to swim to save their lives. After 50 to 100 meters away from the island, most people lost their breath and wanted to return to the island. When Breivik saw people swimming in the water, he screamed, "I am going to kill you, and you all would die today." After an hour and 9 minutes of unchecked bloodshed, Delta Force arrived on the shores of Utoya to face down Anders Breivik. It seemed like he didn't want to get killed by the armed forces, so he quickly surrendered without a fight. He wanted to be taken alive to give his ideological views later. Though the damage was already done, the trauma continued for those who survived that day. In one afternoon, Breivik had claimed the lives of 77 of his fellow citizens, 8 in Oslo and 69 in Utoya Island. He proudly claimed that he committed the massacre as a political act. His social media accounts were loaded with media-friendly pictures of himself posturing with guns and uniforms. Since August 2011, Breivik has been imprisoned in an SHS section. During the trial, he gave several Nazi salutes to both the judge and the public members in the courtroom. He never showed remorse for his shameful act and stated that he continues to be a Nazi and will continue to work for the white power, but never pursue violence ever again. In February 2022, the authorities announced that he would be transferred to Ringreich prison. He was a true face of ferocity and animosity. The wounds he left on the citizens of Norway can never heal, and this would remain the most excruciating day of their lives. That's a wrap for today. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up, share, and subscribe to the channel to see our latest content.